Finland, you know. And I'd say, you know, first one to the bus gets on, you know. And it was a sort of this crazy American attitude that I had, you know. And I think it was very American, that we are a people who are very smart, you know, that we got a lot of street smarts. I mean, we know what the law is all about. We know who made it and how it gets enforced. I mean, I think if you stop the average American and say, what's the law all about? Did God make it? You say, oh, bullshit, God didn't have anything to do with it. You know who made it. John D. Rockefeller made it.
How can you tell an American? Has he any distinguishing flavor? Could you spot him on an elephant in Turkestan, floating on a raft 50 miles at sea, as you'd know a single leaf from the sassafras tree by its characteristic savor? It isn't that he's short or tall, it isn't that he's round or flat, it isn't that he's civilized or aboriginal, nor the head size of his hat. No, it's just that he hates and eternally despises the policeman on his beat, and the judge at his assizes, the sheriff with his warrants, and the bureaucratic crew, for the sole and simple reason that they tell him what to do. And he insists on eating, he insists on drinking, he insists on reading, he insists on thinking, free of governmental snooping or a governmental plan. And that's an American.
Is this the first rodeo you've been to?
No, this is the second time. We just moved to Truckee last year.
Yeah. And you enjoy it?
It's a great event every year.
So you plan to come back next year?
Obviously, yeah.
Is there something about the rodeo that you think is uniquely American, and is something that it says about the American character?
Independence and individual ruggedness. That's probably the cowboy, the idea of the cowboy still. Yeah.
Let me just get over on the boulevard here a little bit. Just kind of rest here a little bit. We haven't had any chargeable accidents in all my life, and I don't want to run into some neighborhood kid here coming out of school right now or something. I think we're riding in a 1976 Kenworth. It's one of them bicentennial trucks. They came out with this bicentennial truck for our 200th birthday. They made 200 of them. That's the reason for the red, white, and blue decoration on it. Basically, the running gear, the transmission, the engine, the rear ends are all standard type truck equipment. There's nothing extra super special about it. Just a 350. If you're familiar with truck engines, the 350 Cummins. Yeah, I guess you'd say I'm independent. I don't owe no allegiance to anybody, and whatever the way I can regulate my operation is either make or lose money in the whole operation.
So in that sense, you're independent, but are there other ways in which you're not independent?
Well, we're really not independent because you talk about independent truck drivers, and then you get into the political bureaucracy that we run out of the United States government there in Washington, D.C., and mainly in the rules and regulations. I mean, I don't think a man in Washington, D.C. can dictate to me how to operate this truck.
But they do, don't they?
Financially, right. Now, that's what I'm saying. That's why I say we've got educated, smart in Washington, D.C. telling us guys, and it's hard for me to explain to somebody or make anybody understand that if you leave me alone, I'll make a darn good living for myself and put a good piece of equipment on the road, given the opportunity. I'm not out here just using this as an excuse to get from point A to point B or from party to party. I'm out here to make a good living, raising 4 children with it, got a wife, got a decent house there in Colorado Springs, and if the government would leave me alone and back off on some of the rules and regulations, I could do even better. That's what I'm saying. There's you know, just because you get elected to an office or you become a political politician, whichever way you want to coin that phrase, don't necessarily make you the big brother that's got to oversee everything that's under your domain. And that's what's happening in Washington, D.C. The people out there feel that they got to be the big brother act, that we're not smart enough down here to do our own thing.
one of the things that we're asking people and trying to explore in the film is not just the explicit anarchism of the individuals of Warren and Tucker and Spooner, but to find out whether there's kind of an implicit anarchism in American traditions and American political history. What's your feeling about that?
Well, I think there's an implicit anarchism in any of the American tendencies that have organized people in opposition to the state. And I think co-ops might have reflected this notion, organizing people not only in opposition to the state, in effect, but in opposition to the major economic movement of the time. I think, as a matter of fact, just in the romantic view of the American character, there's an anarchist tendency. It is flawed by one thing, the abstraction of patriotism. People who will damn the government from morning till night and oppose the state in a million and one ways will, at times of national crisis, become incredibly patriotic and begin to say they will do anything for the state, and they begin to talk of duty, service, sacrifice, all of the words that are the worst words in the world, it seems to me, in a human sense. They begin talking about. Now, I don't know why this is, unless it is that these are such good-hearted people that they really believe that the American state is totally different from any other state, and it's certainly somewhat different, and that they feel that it is important to preserve. They feel they're preserving the country, but the only language that is available is to preserve the state. I have an idea that one of these days there will be another language in which we can talk about preserving the country, the landscape, the neighborhoods, the people in the communities, without talking about preserving the state. At which point there'll be a lot of radical farmers, factory workers, and small-town residents in this country.
Climbing Milestone Mountain, August 22nd, 1937. For a month now, wandering over the Sierras, a poem had been gathering in my mind. Details of significance and rhythm the way poems do, but still lacking a focus. Last night I remembered the date, and it all began to grow together and take on purpose. We sat up late while Denham moved over the zenith, and I told Marie all about Boston, how it looked that last terrible week, how hundreds stood weeping impotent in the streets that last midnight. I told her how those hours changed the lives of thousands, how America was forever a different place afterward for many. In the morning we swam in the cold, transparent lake, the blue damselflies and all the reeds like millions of narrow metallic flowers, and I thought of you behind the grill in Dedham Vanzetti, saying, who would ever have thought we would make this history? Someday mountains will be named after you in Saco. They will be here and your name with them when these days are but a dim remembering of a time when man was wolf to man. I think men will be remembering you a long time, sitting on mountains, many men, a long time. Comrade.
Oh, ho, psycho, psycho, ho, ho, Niccolo, psycho, ho, ho, psycho, psycho, I just want to sing your name. Psycho, 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 ho, ho, psycho, Nicola, psycho, psycho, I just want to sing your name. Oh.
Beginning with the First World War, an alliance of the Departments of Justice, Labor, and Immigration initiated a campaign of repression. Agents broke into the homes of suspected radicals, arrested them, and seized their possessions. Many were deported. Most of the victims were foreigners, usually Russians, Italians, and Jews.
Two men stand out as targets of the anti-radical campaign. They were Italian-born, residents of Boston for many years, respectable workers and dedicated anarchists.